Paul Smith, qui êtes-vous? C'est une bonne question. Je m'appelle Paul Smith et je suis un compositeur, un chef de chœur et j'ai créé un ensemble vocal nommé Voces 8 avec mon frère. Je chante avec cette groupe pour 2 ans et maintenant je suis le chef de notre fondation et je travaille avec peut-être 40 000 élèves par an. Pour moi, c'est très important. Nous travaillons beaucoup avec musique pour la création de nouveaux projets avec élèves. Je travaille ici en France, et allemand, États-Unis, Japon, et je parle français un peu. If your music were a cooking recipe, what would the ingredients and the method be? This is a very dangerous question, I think, to ask a British person because all of the time we spend our life trying to learn how to cook from French people. And I adore French cooking, so I would try to incorporate some elements, I think, of the classic French cooking style. I think everything that I do is based around taking music that has been the best somewhere in the world at some time and working out how to reintroduce it in a way that is relevant today and that can be understood by lots of different people today. So I suspect whatever the ingredients were, I would be trying to use this classic French style, but then also having elements of fusion in everything that we do. Reflections combines traditional Renaissance as well as Japanese lullabies. What reflections are you referring to? For me, as I grew up, I was immersed in music of lots of different centuries, lots of different types of music. I was a chorister at Westminster Abbey, and I've spent the last 10 years traveling all around the world, experiencing different types of music. And I think for me, it's this fusion of the ancient with the modern that really excites me. So as we take a journey through this album, there is a voyage that everyone goes on, from the nighttime to the new day, through our dreams, through the universe, questions around life and death, also ideas of a drop into the water and how this single drop may blur the reflection of the water and give us something different, so that when we come back to the water, we don't see the same reflection, but something else. And the idea within all of these different types of music is that it's this journey that ties everything together, but that there's space for everybody to insert their own feelings, their own views, their own meditations into the music, so that everyone should experience something different, and that should be based on themselves. And some people will come with an idea that they love Renaissance music, but they've never heard a piece of pop music sung in this way. And hopefully the music helps connect those two. Other people will never have experienced Japanese music. So again, we filter this into the music. All of these ingredients sit in a space which sometimes has one voice, sometimes 2,500, but often in a very seamless and flowing shape. Why do you work with children? I think when I was growing up, I had the best possible music education. I was given an incredible opportunity to learn about music and to sing for many hours every day. And it's because of that education that I'm here now doing what I do. And so when we started Voces 8, the idea was that as well as creating an ensemble that performed concerts, our work in education settings was vital. I wrote a method a few years ago which explores how we can use music in lots of different settings, because I have a belief that music education is struggling, certainly in the UK. In France, I think we have similar problems. I do a lot of work in America, and again, there are difficulties. So I see my job as to make sure music in an education setting is still alive and continues to thrive. So it gives me great joy to see children experiencing music for the first time, and I hope I'm able to share the things that I've learnt with them as I've grown up, but also to encourage teachers to think just a little bit differently. I think if we can all learn and share from each other, we can create an environment which allows children to be creative, to use music to better themselves, and to create a community, whether that's a school or beyond the school, that actually uses music to make life better for everybody. How do you work with children, and do you have a secret method? If it's a secret, then I'm afraid we can't have this conversation live, but I do have a method, and I have a belief, really very simply, that when we make music, when we learn best if we're having fun or if we're scared. And I don't like scaring people, so I prefer to have fun and to create an environment where we can be creative. I worked with a fabulous educationalist called Susan Hallam, Professor Susan Hallam, who's written a paper on the types of music that have an impact on the way that we learn and the way students learn in areas like numeracy, literacy, and linguistics. And it's not a secret method, but I wrote a book based on that called the Votre method, which is designed to allow students to play, to have fun, and is designed also so that any teacher, regardless of their musical ability, can lead this process and can also encourage the students in their class to get involved as well. I think in a classroom, something like 3.5 seconds is the average time that any teacher gives before giving an answer to a question. And this is just because of the nature of the environment that we live in. I love to create an environment where we don't have that setting, but where everybody can think, can create, and can have time to say things that are wrong and to find different answers and explore and play. And so my method is based around that. It's about simplicity, it's about it being free, so it doesn't cost anything for a school to have to use, and it's about removing the fear from the classroom so that we're left with play. Can a child sing everything, even a Renaissance song? I think this is a great question because my belief is that students will love doing something if it is good. And it doesn't matter where it comes from if it's good. And I find there are a lot of songs that are taught today in a classroom because maybe they're designed to be taught in a classroom. That can be okay, but actually if we tap into pieces of music that have stood the test of time, that are loved by people in the world, then we can find a way to make that relevant to the students that we work with. And I think singing music from the Renaissance is something I've been doing since I was 9, so it's in my blood. So I have a passion for this music. So I spend my life trying to think up games and ways to incorporate these kind of things into a classroom. I don't think you have to tell people what they're singing. And actually, I think it's very simple. If you start singing a song, you enjoy singing a song, it has a beautiful melody, great harmony, and then afterwards, you can explain where it came from, the history of it, the relevance of it. The children won't put up a mental block. We can find nice ways to play with modern songs and pop songs that everybody loves, but that should not be at the exclusion of great music that has survived the test of centuries and will continue into the future. So I think, honestly, you can teach anything, and the biggest danger is that we think our music is not cool enough. Actually, the job of people who love Renaissance music is to bring it to life in a way that it makes us fall in love with it. If we love it, students can too. Can you describe what makes a successful art education project in 3 words? I think that's the trickiest question we've had today, but I'm going to go with creative. I think if a project is creative, not just in what we give, but in the way that our students are involved, they will identify themselves in what is made. And I think that's really important. Inclusive, I think, would be my second word. I love the idea that everybody is involved in a way that's interactive, that they participate and that they feel music. Our job is not to talk at students, but to bring them into a project. And I think the third is fun. I think if we have fun with what we do, we learn better. and we give whatever it is that we've created, whatever theme, we give it space to live. We should be doing what we do because we love it. And if we can bring that fun, that joy, that passion into the room, not be afraid of it, but embrace it, then I think whatever our theme, whatever our topic, it will be a successful project.